grow up, I want to be the first person to teleport himself.
Even if you could build it.
I've already built it.
Is it next to your flying car?
I'm not working on that anymore. Reed, you're insane. Thanks.
It is our duty as human beings to push forward into the unknown. But sometimes you're looking to discover one thing and you find something else.
I just want to fix my friends.
We can't change the past, but we can change the future.
I'm gonna need a heat-resistant workshop and a big-ass sunroof.
They are dangerous and powerful, which makes them extremely valuable to the government.
You promised me you wouldn't use my kids as weapons.
You think you've had power handed to you? You don't know anything about what's coming. What is coming?
Doom.
This is our chance to make a difference.
We're family.
If we do this, we do it our way.
What if we say no?
Say yes. This is the end of your world and the beginning of mine. He's stronger than any of us. He's not stronger than all of us.
For some reason they put me in the middle here. Hey guys, thanks so much for being here.
Hi. Thanks for having
Congratulations on the movie. What do you think? Have you finally seen a full screening of it? Took a while, right?
Tonight for the first time.
Are you really?
Yes.
Are you excited?
I am very excited.
Is that nerve-wracking?
A little nerve-wracking, yes, but it's always better to see it with the fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk to me about getting involved in a franchise like this, getting involved in a big movie like this, rebooting something that has a lot of hardcore fans. Do you feel like there's a lot of pressure? How do you get into it?
Well, I think the amount of, I think the pressure is the same pressure that it is for any movie. Is just that we all want to make a great movie. Us and the fans have the same intention. We want to make an incredible Fantastic Four movie. People, have been vocal about, maybe the first two movies they didn't like, what they did with it. I don't, whatever it is, but we want to make a great movie, and we took a very interesting, angle on it. We tried to do something different and make it a little more grounded, and yeah, so that pressure is always there. It's hard to, so much work goes into these movies. There's so many people involved, and you just want to be a part of something, something great. So.
How do you stay grounded when you're a part of something where there's so many people involved? You're on set and there's hundreds of people or 100 and 150 people, and you got to focus on your character. You got to focus on your scene. How do you maintain?
I don't know, man. I mean, like, you do the homework. I mean, I guess it all starts before you actually get on set, being prepared, knowing your dialogue, knowing your character as best you can, just coming from a place. And then when you get to work, it's just like showing up at any other job, and you're used to it by now. So you going on a big set, it's not really overwhelming anymore. And you rely on your castmates as well, because we're all going through the same thing, all very talented people. So when you're working in a scene with, one of your friends, somebody you spend so much time with, it's about you guys. Yeah.
Jamie, you're not replacing Michael Chiklis at all. It's a new angle. But what did you think when you got cast as the Thing? Were you like, well, I don't have that physical feature, or did you have conversations going into it?
It was very what?
It's a little buff, man.
Oh, thanks, man. I was very unexpected. I don't think I would be the first choice on many people's lists, to be honest. I don't know. I mean, I think this when I got the call from Josh Trank, he basically pitched me the entire movie. It was like a 2-hour conversation. I mean, he literally took me scene by scene what the movie was going to be, and all of it as a whole piece, felt incredibly unexpected, felt incredibly unique, and it felt bold. It felt kind of dangerous, in a way. And I kind of I appreciated that. I appreciated that someone was going to take a property that's familiar and not just make another comic book movie that I think we've all seen before, but in an attempt to do something very different. I felt quite humbled to have been a part of that kind of thought process, to be included in that.
It's something that's really, as you said, bold and dangerous to do, and also difficult to make a comic book movie that we haven't seen, because for many people, for fans, I think there's a part of them, they want to see the thing that they've always seen because there's something that they're comfortable with, but they also want to be surprised. So how do you present something that the fans are comfortable with, but also surprises them at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, that's more of a question for a director, because ultimately we're trying to fit into his vision, and I think we all did that. We all made sure that we stayed on course with that idea, very much so. But I think, I mean, I don't know. We haven't strayed too far away from what these characters are and what people know of these characters. That Johnny is still very much the Human Torch. He still very much has all the characteristics of the Human Torch. The only difference with the Thing, for example, is just the way we kind of realize the character. I'm not wearing a rubber suit. Obviously, technology has advanced vastly since they made those first ones. So it was obvious that we were going to take different routes with certain things. But the heart of the movie is still what Fantastic Four is all about.
Absolutely. I think my favorite superhero movies personally are the origin stories. Once I get past the origin stories, I lose a little bit of the characters and they become a lot about the action. And what I loved about this was that it was mostly an origin story. What did you think about your character's origins and how she became a superhero?
Yeah, that was one of the main reasons why I was so excited to play Sue Storm, was because she is an unlikely superhero. She's not interested in what that all means at first. I also loved exploring, the relationships between her and Johnny when they're younger, and the complications of that, and the sibling rivalry, and how that changes when they do have their powers. Because Sue, when she first gets her powers, is really her main goal is to get back to normal. And then, of course, that evolves, and she learns to accept it. But Johnny is the opposite, and he sort of feels like that's what he was meant to do, and so it causes more tension between us. I also loved playing those earlier scenes with Miles's character, because you get to really see the eventual the love relationship evolve, and you see what it was like from the very, very beginning, which I love, and I think that's really exciting.
I also think that Johnny's superpower is much more obvious right off the bat, right? He's fire. He can cause a fire, whereas yours is something that your character has to learn and evolve with. It's invincibility. She can kind of fly a little bit, but she can't fly like Johnny can. She sort of hovers. Well,
yeah, I mean, one of the great things about our story is that there's a reason we each get the specific powers that we have. Johnny's fiery anyway, so the fact that he ends up having that as his power makes a lot of sense. Sue is sort of closed off and a little bit introverted and sort of hides herself from people, so the fact that she becomes the Invisible Woman is very well suited.
How much character work do you get to do going into these movies, or how much do you sort of have to rely on the source material?
I mean, I was definitely aware of these characters, who they are as superheroes. I wasn't aware of what they might be like, their history and all of that, and a lot of that was in our script already. And then most of it really came out of long conversations with our director Josh, and what his vision was, and what our very specific stories were for each of our characters.
Talk to me about embodying these sort of special effects. Like, for instance, your superhero power, stretching. What are you wearing?
The greatest superpower of all.
What are you wearing when you're shooting that? Are you wearing like a green screen suit? What's going on there?
Fully nude.
Just stretching
Giving
it
myself
out.
over to the director and his vision. No, you're wearing. obviously, as you know, green. You know, it's green screen for a reason. Green kind of, you know, allows itself to be, you know, computer generated for whenever they want to throw effects in there. And for the one scene where I'm laying, I think they showed in, I don't know if it's in this trailer or there's some clips online, but I'm laying on the bed and you get the sense that I've just kind of gone through the accident and my body is stretching and, you know, you're seeing my tendons and everything's kind of elongating. And for that scene, I was laying on this table and they had kind of coming out where my limbs would be some like tubing to give me a sense of like how long my arm was. And then Josh kind of just walked me through, okay, so you've just woken up and, you know, and your arm's all the way down there and now you need to get out of these restraints. So your hand is going down the table and you're moving through the vents. It's struggle, it's hard. So that particular day was interesting for me. Coming from theater school where it's like I practice being seaweed at the bottom of the ocean, listening to whale music for 30 minutes to warm up to be able to push an imaginary box. You know what I mean? So it was great. I mean, what you're allowed to do in a film like this and maybe not in a smaller independent film is that it is just so richly imaginative. So yeah, you just gotta trust the special effects guys.
It becomes almost theatrical in a sense for you. Like, as you said, you rely on a theater background a little bit because you're not dealing with practicals so much.
Yeah, it's a lot of kind of projection of what, you know, in theater you always have, you know, you're always looking out at the audience, you're imagining all these different things. It can be a very bare set, but that doesn't mean that, you know, the world is not, you know, very rich.
What did you feel like, you know, you're playing, you know, your character's on fire the whole time for the most part. You don't really see that, obviously, when you're shooting it. Do you have any fear going into it of what this is going to look like? Did you have an idea of what it would look like?
I saw some you know, some previs and some tests that they did early on, but that kind of gave you a little bit of an idea what they were going to look like. But the thing with Johnny is, I wore a light suit that kind of, you know, that replicated what the flames would look like based on, like, you know, the reflection of that off the world around me. You know, so that kind of gave the other cast members a visual, you know what I'm saying, to kind of play with their imagination, to kind of somewhat visualize what the flames look like. So it made it a little bit easier for me wearing the light suit on certain takes.
Okay, what did you have around you for the force field? Did you have anything to give cast members sort of an idea of what would be there, or were you just kind of... Sorry.
He does a really good impression of my power.
Then that's it.
Yeah, there's nothing around me. I generally would just walk out of the room when I disappear. Yeah, there you go.
That's it. That's how it worked. And Jamie, what about you? You know, you're when you turn into the thing, it's very much computer generated at that point. Were you there in a green screen, sort of modeling on screen for people, performing with the actors?
Yeah, I mean, we used performance capture to do it. So, you know, I've done a bit of motion capture before, but I haven't actually done it when you can be on set with the other actors, like on the real set.
Sort of like Andy Serkis style?
Yeah, exactly like Andy Serkis style. Yeah. Exactly like that. So it was great. I mean, there's always, with performance capture, there is genuinely always a question of authorship, of, you know, what is coming through and how much is an animator and how much is an actor, and, you know, where's it all coming from. But I think more than anything, when you discuss with the director a character and you have an actor play it, I think there's just generally more sensitivity around those kinds of characters, more effort is put in, and hopefully it resonates with people, you know.
Is there a chance, I mean, the three of you have suits on so that you can control your, what you can do as superheroes. Does the Thing ever get a suit? Will the Thing ever get a suit and come back to...
Will he ever get, like, a pair of pants?
Yeah.
I don't know, that's a good question. I mean, if Reed Richards builds him a pair of pants, maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah? No?
Make me some pants, bro. Seriously.
Yeah, hands. We talked about some other areas.
Yeah.
Maybe I could carve something out for you.
All right.
You know, I got to go to the workshop. I don't know.
Thanks, dude. Thanks, man.
When you guys come from, I mean, you're coming from Whiplash, you're coming from Fruitvale, and, you know, you guys have respectively done a few smaller films and some bigger films. Are you excited, nervous when you get on a set the first day for Fantastic Four and you see everybody there?
Yeah, I mean, there's really... it's not a huge difference. I think we tend to, you know, with these smaller films, you can go. Maybe that day you get to do 3 or 4 scenes, so you're just so in the story. It's unraveling, like, right there in front of you. And where the movie like this might take 2 days to do friggin' 2 pages, a page of dialogue. So that muscle's different, but But other than that, I think we all kind of, once you're in the scene, the cameras are pretty much the same. Maybe the lighting is a little more elaborate, but other than that, it's with your other actor, and that's everything else kind of goes away, or it should, and hopefully you're able to just believe in the material.
What's that other muscle that you're stretching when you're shooting a scene over the course of 2 days rather than shooting a scene in a few hours and moving on to the next one? Does it feel good to do that? Is it freeing, or is it just a different exercise?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different thing. I think it is hard to, because on these bigger films, I say the difference is really like lighting. That seems to be the big things, how they're lighting the shots. But yeah, it's tough when the one scene takes 2 days, or you get to do one take and you just want to go and you want to explore the scene, but then you got to sit for 40 minutes. It all comes with, we've all been working, for a decent amount of time, and you just learn when you just got to keep it in the tank, and you give some here, and then you keep it, settle down, and then you bring it, and yeah. But at the core of it, I mean, acting it's all, scene work is still, the same.
Talk to me about working with the guy who played Dr. Doom. He's pretty great in the film. When did you know he was going to get cast, and how'd you guys work together?
When was he cast? I think he was cast probably not long after the four of us were. But Toby's an amazing actor, and he's done a lot of really great performances as well. So I think we were all really excited to work with him. And we all had like an equal amount to do with him. When he's in his Dr. Doom costume, there's only so much acting you can do because you can't really see anything. But it was fun to play those earlier scenes between all of us and to figure out that, all of that history, because there's so much in the comics about the history between Sue and Doom and Reed.
Do you get to have a lot more fun on set when you're shooting a film that lasts like 72 days to shoot? Do you guys feel like you get to hang out a little bit more and joke around, or are you still preparing and rehearsing and pushing as much on a smaller film?
I think it really just depends. I mean, I think during all of this stuff, we've bonded just as much as we probably did while the 4 months it took us to make the movie. It's a bonding experience, a movie like this, because obviously the movie is about family and it's about a team. And luckily we all got along, but it also it's a pretty crazy experience to go through. So
why is that? Why
well,
is it
playing a superhero, for me anyway, is very surreal, and it was a very special comic story to tell. So I feel like we're all very bonded now because of that. But if you're making a really small film that you have to shoot in like 20 days, I think you probably bond just as much with those people as well.
Why were you smiling?
Because they have
During
a special relationship.
Yeah, no.
It's the weirdest thing.
You do so much prez, and I have a running dialogue. I'm just always.
What's the?
I have a whole different. I don't know.
Can we be privy to the running joke that you have?
No, it's not really a running joke. All these guys crack me up, and
Did you guys have a lot of fun while shooting the movie?
Yeah, I mean, we were in Baton Rouge, we were in Louisiana, so it wasn't that much to do outside of like us entertaining each other, and frequent trips to New Orleans every once in a while, as you can imagine, would be a lot of fun. So yeah, we bonded a lot. We spent a lot of time together, yeah, it was like going to camp. Right? No?
We all have
so
just
fun.
special like moments with each other that aren't necessarily for everyone else to know.
Yeah.
So
Clearly.
we look at each other and we can't really keep a straight face.
Yeah.
I feel like the joke's on me. I'm wondering.
No,
Which
no,
is
you're
totally
good.
okay.
No, you're good. You're safe.
I'm saying, okay,
You're safe.
great.
You're
Okay,
good.
I'm good. Did you guys go to Fat Tuesday, or did you have Mardi Gras while you were in New Orleans, or is it a different time of year?
I think we had our version of Mardi Gras. I think we had
It's always Mardi Gras in New Orleans.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's like a Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. It's like beads and the whole thing. New Orleans never stops.
Is that something that you worry about, though? You're shooting Fantastic Four. It's a huge property, and then of course there's New Orleans. And if I'm near New Orleans, I want to go out. I want to drink in the streets. I want to have a great time.
Sure.
But you guys might get photographed while you're out there. Did you worry about that at all? Were you like, no, it's New Orleans. No one, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't recall any paparazzi in New Orleans, honestly.
No, Jamie and I walked around Comic-Con on the floor with all the fans, and not one person noticed us.
On the floor? You were just walking through Comic-Con?
Well, we went to get a coffee, and we thought, well, let's just see what it's like out there amongst the fans and everybody and the costumes, and not one person even looked twice.
So what was it like to be anonymous at Comic-Con? Did it feel different?
Well, I've never been there before, so I didn't really know what to expect, but it looked like a lot of fun to just go dressed up as a character and experience all those things. There's all sorts of games and things. I didn't know about all that.
Is there something about Comic-Con, when you go to Comic-Con and you're presenting this film, you're presenting yourselves as these characters, does it dawn on you, is there a realization that like, oh my God, there is a certain amount of responsibility when it comes to this film, look at all the fans?
I think it is when we were lucky enough to like share the stage at the end of Fox's presentation. Basically the whole cast of like X-Men came out and Stan Lee was there, and I think that's when you're like, geez, this is so much bigger than any of us individually, and look at, especially for me, like where we've got to, like this is great, this is something really worth celebrating, and especially with someone like Fox who's done such a good job at like basically renovating those X-Men movies so frequently and so often that, Hugh Jackman is an institution unto himself. That character is huge, so to be sharing a stage with those people, a potential crossover that could maybe happen if this movie is successful, just the whole energy of Comic-Con, the celebration of it is very infectious for sure.
Are you guys excited to start shooting part 2?
We'll find out Monday. But no.
Does it really work that way? Where they're like, well, first weekend we'll let you know Monday if we're going into it again.
You just gotta, an idea. You have a ballpark range where you're trying to hit. You have goals, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, it would be awesome to kind of team back up with these guys and get on set and develop these characters. Turn them into the Fantastic Four that everybody's so familiar with. Yeah, it'll be great to do that.
Miles?
Miles, your thoughts on wanting to do a sequel? Yeah, I echo all of Mike's sentiments. It's none of these movies, regardless of how successful they think they're going to be, do they start shooting the second one or really have those details planned out before the first one comes out. But yeah, we all really get along, and we realize that this as an origin story is setting itself up very nicely for more storylines, and yeah, you just like start to scratch the surface with it, and I think we all feel very attached to our characters, and we absolutely would want an opportunity to do more.
Absolutely. Let's take some questions from the audience.
You in the back?
We have a question from an online viewer. Sarah M. She wants to know, who are your favorite superheroes, all of you?
They're not really superheroes, but it was like Dick Tracy, Indiana Jones. He was not a superhero, but whatever. And Captain Planet. We can't forget about him. Pollution is still a problem, people.
Mine was a super villain. I loved Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman.
Oh man, I'm a big comic book fan. I like Neymar a lot. Neymar is a good one.
What's your other one? What's your one you've been putting out there?
It's not Darkwing Duck. Come on, y'all know Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, probably Michael Keaton's Batman. I would say I grew up watching those movies pretty intensely. Yeah.
All right, so I know it's 2 different companies, but do you guys see yourself working with the Avengers in a film down the line, if there's enough pull for it? Because I know Hugh Jackman really wants to do it, so...
Well, Marvel was a part of this a little bit, right? Oh. Their thing is at the front of the movie. I don't want to get into that.
It would be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool. Yeah, it would be cool to answer your question for sure, if that was possible.
We would love to.
Why do I have to be in the middle of the stage?
I swear, Fox, it wasn't us. Yeah.
Next question.
Okay, this is kind of stupid, but if you could each actually have superpower in real life, what would it be?
Go ahead and go for it. Just go. Go ahead, do it.
All right, well, I keep saying this, and Mike's been a champ and is accepting the challenge. I'd like him to have the gift of being on time.
Yep.
That's it. He can have mine. No one else is going to answer the question.
I
So.
don't know.
What's up? Go ahead.
What's a cool one? What does somebody think's a cool one that's not obvious? Because we said flying, being invisible,
Teleportation.
teleportation.
Yeah, we said that. Anybody
If you
got
think of a
any
new one,
powers?
just
cool?
give us. Huh? Eating a lot.
What's the suit and like not gaining
The power to
like,
eat a lot. I think that power is always right there. It's just what you want to do with it. I don't know.
Alchemy's a good one. You Full Metal Alchemist fan? Yeah, yeah, you know in the back. All right, yeah.
There's one intelligent person here. We're all. This is the guy. Thank you. Who else has a stupid question?
Hey,
Okay, she said that. I did not say it.
I got a question for Miles. If you could keep the stretch power, but only for one limb, what would it be?
Come on, man, that's a setup. Come on.
Why are you looking at me?
Oh man, my arm.
You poor guys. I do not envy the four of you. Next question.
Hey guys, here's another hard-hitting question. I know you guys talked about there's a lot of inside stories you can't really tell us, but is there one of like a favorite moment that you guys had on set or while filming this film that you can share with those online and us in the audience?
There was a moment I thought about. I hadn't actually talked about. It's not a crazy thing, but there was a scene where my character, I'm like digging through a box of junk and I'm trying to find this one part. And so I'm like doing it, we did a couple takes of it, and then on one of the takes I put my hand in there to pull this. Were you guys in the scene? Yeah. I put my hand in there and when I pulled it out.
Were you guys in the scene with us?
Yeah.
It was just me and my head.
Jamie wasn't there, the other thing. But anyway, so I put my hand in, when I pulled it out, there was a sharp like hook that took a big chunk of my finger out and I had to get like 9 stitches or something like that. Yeah, that was pretty wild.
That was your favorite?
What was the question? I don't know. But that was a bizarre thing that happened.
Anybody else have a favorite thing that happened on set?
There was a lot of dancing. The ladies might like to know that these two dance a lot. That was there you go.
Let's see it.
Come on. No, you're not.
You stood up.
Put
You
it away.
started this.
Don't act like I
Put it away.
pressured you. What was the dance song that you guys usually went for?
Jamie's a tapper, and because Jamie was always in stilts, he learned to like tap dance, and his stilts was quite nice. Me and Mike had this grand idea of doing like the electric slide in our spacesuits, and we thought that was. Somebody say yes. I love weddings.
She knows.
Yes.
She knows.
But we thought it'd be cool to like have everybody do the electric slide in our spacesuits, and then we did it, and just nobody cared, and they moved on to the next shot, just like. But we thought it was going to be a thing. Yeah. We're like, this is going viral.
No one even humored you?
You can't try and make something viral. Viral happens to you.
I think we have one more question. Where is this?
Hey, so you guys were in the movie That Awkward Moment, and I wanted to know, have y'all met the actors you replaced in this reboot, and has that been awkward?
Yeah, I ran into Chris Evans at a party or whatever, and that wasn't awkward at all. He was just like, "Hey man, great, love your work." I said the same thing. We're both fans of each other. He said, "Go do great. I can't give you any advice," and it was just pretty chill. It was pretty chill, yeah.
Yeah, I met Jessica Alba on an airplane, and we just talked about it for a second. We discussed our super suits, and it wasn't awkward at all. Just like normal superhero talk.
Jamie sat behind Michael Chiklis on a plane, but didn't say hi or anything.
So that was awkward.
I was waiting for the Chiklis story. I was kind of dying for the Chiklis story. Is that true?
Yeah. I texted you, didn't I? Because the same thing had happened to you. So I texted Kate. I was like, "You're never gonna believe this." But I was sat behind it, and she was like, "Well, you got to take a picture." I was like, "I'm trying to sneak a picture of Michael Chiklis like this on the plane."
He did take a picture. I saw the back of Chiklis's head.
Yeah,
so
yeah. It's also just undoubtedly him. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on the film. Thank you so much for watching the audience. Thanks for AOL.com.
Thanks, guys.
The movie comes out this Friday. Go see it.